Now, I was talking to you about the ignorance on the part of people who are liberal about the number of unarmed black men who are killed every year. More than half of self-described liberals, according to this poll, believe that over 1,000 unarmed black men are killed every year by the police. And in that year, that particular year was 2019 that they were referring to, and the number was actually closer to 25. So they were off by a factor of 40. That means much of the country falsely believes that the police kill 40 times more unarmed black men, a minimum of 40 times more unarmed black men every year than in fact they do. That's how ill-informed they are. I mentioned yesterday about Brian Williams, one of the anchors on MSNBC, literally laughing that he had never taken an economics course. No kidding. No kidding. Instead of making you guys undergo racial sensitivity training, maybe they ought to make you undergo economics 101. Same thing with gun control. Years ago when I was at another station, I did a show, and I asked people to call in and tell me how many people they thought every year were alive because somebody was able to get a gun and defend himself or herself. And I got a letter after I did the show from a man who said he was an engineer. And he said, I consider myself to be very well educated. I was having dinner with another one of my friends who's also an engineer, also very well educated. And I told him about your show. And I asked him how many people he thought every year defended themselves with a firearm. He said 50. 50 a year. And I told him that you said the number is closer to over 1 million. Gary Kleck, the criminologist from Florida, put the number at 1.25 million. Even the CDC during the Obama administration was ordered to do research on all the existing research on defensive uses of guns. And they very quietly came out with a report and said there is at least one defensive use of gun for every illegal use of firearms. That's what the CDC said. They also quoted Gary Kleck and had the same number that I mentioned, and said many studies put the number at much higher. Well, the same ignorance that people like Brian Williams have regarding Economics 101, the same ignorance people like Brian Williams and the left have regarding the defensive uses of guns. They don't even think about even raising the issue. And I think part of it is math illiteracy. They don't understand percentages. Remember when Brian Williams made that bogus assertion that had Bloomberg spent his money on every man, woman, and child in America, they all would have gotten $1 million or something like that? Remember that? These are the people who are sitting there giving us news. DoFi, never studied economics, never studied foreign relations, so that somebody like Rashida Tlaib can say this.
I mean, this is an apartheid system. I mean, Israel.
You hear that? Apartheid.
I mean, this is an apartheid system. I mean, Israel's own prominent human rights organization, B'Tselem, has declared it. Human Rights Watch has declared it.
Okay. Now, for all you people out there on the left, I've made the same argument when you called Donald Trump a fascist and a Nazi. Isn't that insulting to people that went through that period of Germany and their descendants? Isn't that insulting to refer to Donald Trump, a duly elected man who did not murder his opposition a la Adolf Hitler, a dictator, a fascist, a Nazi? Isn't it insulting to Nelson Mandela and all the people that endured apartheid Africa to have Israel, a democrat state that provides more rights and privileges to Arabs in their country than the Arabs have in the Arab world? Isn't it insulting to people like Nelson Mandela to call Israel an apartheid? During Nazi Germany, were there Jews on the Supreme Court, as is the case with respect to Israel? During Nazi Germany, were there Jews in the parliament, as is the case with the Israeli Knesset? All the duties and privileges of any Israeli citizen, except they don't have the obligation to serve in the military. And Rashida Tlaib can say with a straight face that Israel is an apartheid state and nobody corrects her, nobody says anything, nobody's got a problem with that? Look up the word apartheid. How insulting. 888-971-SAGE. I am Larry Elder.